Happy Friday and welcome to the Knit-a-thon. This is day 22 of our 30-day daily knitting, crafting for a cause. We're crafting for the American Cancer Society. This is a fundraiser and it's also a knit-a-thon. I'm knitting every day. I've been knitting for 22 days straight for an hour at 9 o'clock every day. And if this is your first time joining us, I'm glad you're here. If you're joining us again, I'm glad you're here. We are crafting for a cause. We are creating comfort and hope and giving that to cancer patients going through chemo. So on day 22, we are working on a special project from another special donor. This project that we're working on today is sponsored by Amy. That's my sister. She's amazing. We are working on a cozy chemo scarf that is sponsored by her. We've gotten a head start on the project because the scarves over the days have taken us some time to complete, so we got a head start. This is 91 rows of this beautiful color. This color is called Sequoia. This is a Lion Brand yarn. I love Lion Brand. It's so soft and cozy. So it's Lion Brand, but it's a Heartland specifically, but it's so soft. Lion Brand yarn is amazing. I like the homespun crinkly yarn from Lion Brand as well. This is, I want to make one for myself in this color, in this Heartland, and everything. I love this color. Good morning, Pam. Happy Friday to you as well. You're at home waiting for a new refrigerator to be delivered. In the meantime, watching and knitting my scarf. We're knitting together. We're knitting together. So, do you have the entire day off today as you're waiting for your refrigerator? Or maybe you're working a half a day? Hopefully, you can get it soon. I'm excited to see your project, your scarf, your loom scarf that you're knitting. Sounds amazing. So, Pam, we have completed your overflow project. Let me just share with you the overflow tracker. My lips don't want to cooperate today. So, we've completed one of your overflow projects, the cozy chemo beanie, and we have one more to go as well. Oh, okay. We're knitting together. Yay. And you have the whole day off. Okay, so your scheduled time for delivery is between 1 and 4. Well, that's actually a decent schedule time. Um, Typically, when I'm waiting for something, service or something to be delivered, it seems like my schedule time is covering the majority of the day. So it's like hurry up and wait for the whole day. Hopefully, you don't have to wait too long. But you're having fun until it happens, right? So this is our overflow, and we've completed Pam's overflow project. I'm going to share that with you. And here's our November calendar. We've completed so many things, and we are working on a sponsored item by Amy. Today's project is sponsored by Amy. This cozy chemo scarf that we're working on. But this overflow project is sponsored by Pam. This is the cozy chemo beanie sponsored by Pam. I'm going to put it in this view so that you can see it this way. Actually, let's just go this mode. How cute is this? And of course, it can be worn straight or flipped on the brim. This is so cute. Thank you, Pam, for sponsoring this Cozy Chemo Beanie. And it actually coordinates with the scarf that Pam has sponsored. Now I'm going to show it to you this way. If you remember the scarf that we created that we had to recover or, cover up with these flowers, these two go together, complement each other. Oh, you like purple? That's perfect. Yes, these two go so well together. And the issue that we had, it just worked out great to add those puff flowers over the top. So thank you for sponsoring this overflow project. I love it. We are at 91 rows on our scarf, going to 220 for this scarf as normal. Pam, are you making your scarf a certain number of inches, or are you just going until you like the length, or until you use a certain number of skeins, yarn skeins? How are you determining the length that you want? This way here, so we can share our progress. Amazing progress so far. Thanksgiving is next week. Who's ready for Thanksgiving? What are we cooking for Thanksgiving? Are we cooking? Yeah, the flower on the scarf was a perfect compliment. The issue that we had was meant to be just so that we can add those flowers. It worked out just the way it was supposed to. Okay, so the scarf is, excuse me, 7 inches wide as per the loom, 12 pegs. Oh, Pam wants a long scarf. Oh, okay. I see. Something that you can wrap around and be very cozy with. Cool. I'm gonna roll this up. This is so soft. This yarn that I'm using today, this is the first time that you're seeing it, but I actually started with this yarn as, I guess you can say, a test when I first, well, actually, before the knit-a-thon started. I used this yarn as a tester on my ultimate sweater machine. Um, I was sharing in the very beginning of the series that We started to have more items available for sponsor, and one of those other items was a pillow cover. And I was going to create the pillow covers on the Ultimate Sweater Machine. So I tested that, but the machine wasn't as easy to use, and it's a machine that I got years ago, so long ago, to where there was a VHS tape of instructions that came with the machine. Now the machine still works, but it was just hard for me to slide the carriage back and forth. And that's how you have to knit the stitches on that particular machine. Ooh. Kim says she's a little ready for Thanksgiving. You're gonna smoke a turkey, mac and cheese, and pound cake. Kim, I have seen your posts, pictures of the food that you created, the baked goods and such. I would love to have a plate, a Thanksgiving plate from you. Oh, smoked turkey, mac and cheese, and pound cake. Sounds delicious. Sounds delicious. I'm gonna do some turkey wings, turkey dressing, roasted vegetables, fruit vegetables. What else did I say? I am gonna make a puff pastry dessert with just fruit on the puff pastries. Fruit and I'll make a whipped cream or like a Cool Whip from Heavy Whipping Cream. That'll be our dessert. So it'll be light and fluffy, but it's still a sweet treat with the fruit. So let's roll this up a little bit more. Yes, I love this yarn so much that I started using it initially on the Ultimate Sweater Machine. That's what I was saying. But I ended up not using the Ultimate Sweater Machine because it was a little hard to go back and forth. But I want to show you what that looks like, what the Ultimate Sweater Machine looks like if you're not familiar with it, and also give you just a glance, like a quick glance of some of the projects that we've completed thus far. As you can see, the machine is long. It fits perfectly on my dream cart that's right behind me. But that purple carriage that you saw, you slide that back and forth across all of the hooks that were sticking out. They're like latch hooks, and it catches the yarn. And maybe after doing this arm workout on the Eddie Express machine, I'll have more arm strength to move that carriage back and forth. So I'm going to try it again, but it won't be during our knit-a-thon. I think it's still a great machine, just not something to complete within the hour like we're doing. We're at row 149. And this is how many yards? This is 251 yards. This was a fresh skein, like a new skein. Will give me a good idea of how many balls I need for this scarf because I'm getting this color for myself as well. I'm gonna get another one so that I can have so that I can make myself one because this is just so soft. And the color, I love it. Take this label off because it's restricting my access to the yarn. I'm really trying to do a variety of colors for the projects that we're creating because these projects are going to be donated to my local hospital to patients going through chemotherapy. And I realize that not all the patients are women, but people have different likes and different color preferences. So I'm trying to do a variety of bright colors, warm colors, subtle colors, solid colors, colorful, and more neutral colors like this. If I was given a selection out of all of the colors that we've created, this would be my choice. This would be the one that I would choose. This color scheme. So I don't know if you can see the yarn that we have left, and we're at 170 rows. So one skein of yarn, I don't think it's going to take us to 220. But that's okay. We've got more of this color. So I'm curious to know if anyone that's watching live or watching on the replay, have you participated in Friendsgiving? We have Thanksgiving coming up next week, and there's also uh, sometimes people get together and do Friendsgiving gatherings. Anyone participated in a Friendsgiving gathering? I have not. I'll be curious to hear if you have. Now that we're coming to the end of the yarn, it wants to bunch up on itself. It's typically not knotting, just bunching up. But this yarn goes great. It goes beautifully in the machine. I've not had any issues with I've not had any issues with the stitches. I'm just making sure that I control the tension with my left hand and still watching to make sure there's no issues. But now it wants to stay together. On my buttons. We're on row 180. 181. Oh, I love it when skeins just come apart so easy and they don't stick to themselves. But this has given us 100, and you see this is the end of it here. This is the tail. 188 rows. But we've got another. The issue that I had with the other one was finding the tail. I should have looked for the tail. And I wish skeins would give you an arrow to let you know where the tail is, which end the tail is coming from. On some red heart yarns, I have noticed that they do give you an arrow to let you know which end the tail comes from, where it starts, but not every yarn does that. And so now I have this conglomerate that has come out of the middle of the yarn, and there's a tail in here somewhere. The end is here somewhere. Just have to find it without creating a knot. It's coming apart fairly easily until it's not. Now I see the end. Here it is. But let's just go ahead and pull it through. Okay. Now we can add the other end and keep going. So we'll just have one tail that we have to tie off on the inside, or one um, yarn joining. Typically it's a color change, but this isn't a color change, but we just joined the new yarn. We're at 192. And so I did do the jogless join on here. Going closer. Not sure if you're able to see. So when I do the jogless join, let's make it go more on this side. You take both of the ends. It's kind of hard to tell because of the brown. and pull them away from each other until that stitch lines up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do our knots now. So we won't have to do it at the end. Just cut off that excess. We're good to go. Oh, so pretty. I love this color. It coordinates with my vest, the vest I'm wearing today. 20 more rows to go. And in case you are wondering, if you are new to our knit-a-thon, these are the items that you can sponsor when you make a donation to the American Cancer Society. On my fundraiser link, you also sponsor an item for me to knit. These are the items that you can sponsor. And we're working on the scarf today. Let's go ahead and play some tunes while we get to 220 rows. One more row of 220. Now it's time for our waste yarn. We're adding waste yarn to the other end. So let me move this so that you can see. We're taking this color out of the Golden Gate Bridge, which is the yarn feeder, putting it into the middle of the project. We have a long tail so that we can sew the infinity scarf together. And then we're going in with our waist yarn, holding the two ends while we crank to start. And now this is just a little bit of waist yarn. We're going to just do a few rows before we end the project. Taking it out and doing two more rows going around so the project can fall off of the machine. My waist yarn is starting to get too stretchy. It's sticking. There we go. So now let's remove the machine. This bracket doesn't want to come off. Don't want to release today. There we go. Our brackets. And our skid mark. Tread mark. Okay, so we only had one yarn in to tie, but we already tied that. So we're going to just go ahead and unroll the scarf. Okay. This is the end we started with because our tail is short. I'm going to put it on the top. The tail is at the top as we flatten this out. I'm going to stretch it this way. This is the end we end it with because our tail is long. And just want to make sure it's at the top. So now, going in with our favorite darning needle, big metal one. In the very first stitch that we're going to sew, It's going to be on the same side. This is the tail, and this is the very first stitch to the left of the tail. So we're going to go in that one. Then we're going to go into the stitch on the other side to the left of the tail again. Pull it through. Then we can line them up and weave the rest all the way around. So in the stitch that we just went in, we're going back into that one and then into the next one. Pulling it through. Then on this side, back into the stitch that we went into previously and then into the next stitch. Pull it through. Then back on this side, the stitch that we went in previously and into the next. Pulling it through. Alternating each side, the top layer and the bottom layer. Always going into the previous stitch and then the next stitch. The H yarn just helps us to see the stitches, so we know exactly where to go. Because without it, it's just so hard to see, so hard to tell where you need to go. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Thank you, Maria, for joining us over on Instagram. I appreciate you tuning in to the Knitathon. Are you a crafter? If you're just now tuning in, this is a cozy chemo scarf that we are creating. This is going to be donated to a cancer patient going through chemo. We are hosting a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society, and it's a knit-a-thon. It's a daily knitting fundraiser. I am committed to knitting every day. We've been doing it for 22 days. This is day 22. We're going to knit every day for the entire month of November. I knit live every day except for Sundays. You can tune in at 9 o'clock in the morning to catch the project that we're working on for the day. Let's bring this in a little bit closer so that you can see it. Every day we're working on a different project. The goal is daily knitting. The challenge for me is knitting live and completing it within an hour. I have accepted the challenge and we are following through. If there is a project that I'm not able to complete live, I'll finish it over on the fundraiser page. And if you're not able to, well, if you're not on the fundraiser page, I should say, just comment page and I'll add you so that you can see all the behind the scenes posts from myself and the sponsors. We have a lot of fun over there. With the three items that you have the opportunity to sponsor, this cozy chemo scarf, one like this. It's an infinity scarf that we're creating. We're binding up the ends right now. This is one of the options. Cozy chemo beanie or a bookmarker. While patients are going through chemotherapy, This is going to give them something to hold on to, something cozy to warm up with, and just something to let them know that they're not alone and someone's thinking about them, and it gives them additional hope. That's the goal. A few stitches left to bind up this Cozy Chemo Infinity Scarf. Now I'm wanting to do more crafting after this is over. I'm going to miss the lives. I'm excited and sad at the same time that the lives are coming to an end for November for the daily knitting anyway. We may do a spin-off from this and create a new series. Not sure yet. And this last one. So now my yarn is right across from each other. It tells me that I have made it all the way around. And we're just going to take off the darning needle, cut some of the excess, and we're going to start ripping off the waste yarn. One of my favorite parts, because you can just rip off yarn, have that satisfaction of ripping it and causing no damage. I love that. It has served its purpose. Now it's time to go. But we'll use it again. It will continue to serve a purpose whenever we do the infinity scarves. It's stuck here. Ooh, I think I sewed a piece or something. Can I pull it this way? I don't know what we did. Now it came off. We had a bit of a sacrifice there. It did its duty. So now we're taking the waste yarn off of, this is the cast on row. So I'm just finding the edge so that I can pull out the cast on row first. This one goes that way. Okay, now we can rip it off. I love it. Okay. So we have our little binding seam. I love to do it in the same color so that it blends better. I'm just going to make this flat so I can tie a knot and another knot and another knot. So with the tails, we're just going to weave it into the inside since this is a double walled scarf. We can just pull it inside. Do that with the other side, the other tail. And pull it apart so that it gets absorbed in there. Cut off the excess. And we now have our Sequoia Infinity Scarf for someone that likes neutral colors. Cute, right? I think so. So let's add the tag. Here it is, this direction. This is sponsored by Amy. Add it so that it's easy to take off. Awesome. I'll show it to you this way. And then I'll show it to you the other direction. This project was sponsored by Amy. Thank you, Amy, for sponsoring this project. And then I'll show it to you this way. Awesome. So this is our project from today, sponsored by Amy. Thank you so much, Amy, for sponsoring this cozy chemo scarf. And this is our overflow project sponsored by Pamela. Thank you, Pam, for sponsoring this overflow project, the cozy chemo beanie. Our sponsors are awesome. I thank you so much for joining us today. And guess what? We're coming back tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.